Yo, what's going on, guys? And today, of course, we got to talk about the Atlanta Hawks. Quin Snyder and Trae Young seem to be a perfect match because Trae Young playing a bit more off ball and adapting to it. Now, I want to hear your thoughts down below in the comment section. Do you guys agree with me on this? And yeah, basically, shout out Jared Weiss, who I actually met at a party this past summer in Vegas. And he wrote a nice piece about this, so we went in and did a deep dive ourselves. And this is where I want to hear your guys' opinions. Do you guys agree with me that the Atlanta Hawks continue to be the dark horse team that everybody needs to keep an eye on, as they're just a good coach, long, lengthy team that's able to compete with a lot of people? So let's get right into what we have for today, and let me hear those thoughts in the comment section down below, and let me know if there was anything that I might have missed. So the Atlanta Hawks under Quin Snyder are getting Trae Young to buy in to what looks like the next level or the next step in his offensive weapon or arsenal, and that is making this team's offense a little less predictable. And Quin Snyder is suggesting something that we've all been suggesting for a while and implementing: to play more off ball. Some might say he was reluctant to play off ball against DeJounte Murray because he didn't want to give DeJounte Murray the keys to the offense. That's neither here nor there. However, when you look at the situation, this is a big change for Trae, as he is one of the more ball-dominant players in the league. I think there's very few other players who have as high as a usage rate and are as ball-dominant as he is. And he's a guy who, even though he's had the most assists in the NBA since coming into the league, and leads the NBA in assists since 2020, is basically statistically the best passer since Steve Nash. Quin Snyder, who is known as an offensive architect, is deciding that, look, the pick and rolls, 3-point shots, that's all cool, but we need to leverage this. We need to get Trae away from the defenders to not only get him more scoring opportunities, but also to create chances for his teammates, because it's all about spreading the love and making the offense more versatile. Quin Snyder thinks that at this point, Trae Young's transition in his career is just a natural step forward. And he's just saying that whenever a team or a player finds success, there comes to a point where you have to adapt and get a little help to that. And Snyder really believes that Young's shift is all about using his skills to keep the defenses on their toes, even when he's not actually the one handling the rock. And Larry Nance Jr., one of the new Atlanta Hawks players who were added through the DeJounte Murray trade, has talked about the gravity that Trae Young, has on offense that the defense does, or I guess gravitates towards would be the right way to put it. And he says how by just having Trae Young on the court, it pulls defenders in and it creates openings for other guys, even when he's not even attacking. So Quin Snyder has the Hawks switching things up to better fit this new style and focusing on players who can read the floor and take advantage of Trae Young's presence on the floor on offense. So we're seeing a lot more Jalen Johnson. That's why Zachary Ricochet, I think, stays on the floor a lot more, even though his shot isn't falling. Garrison Matthews. Obviously, there's some injuries as we still haven't, Bogdan and DeAndre Hunter coming back. But while they don't have a secondary playmaker like DeJounte Murray, Kobe Buffkin, hopefully when he comes back, will be that guy. They've got a really good, solid group of guys. Like I said, Jalen Johnson, who's actually a secondary playmaker himself, who can effectively read the defense, and it adds a whole new level of unpredictability. Like I said, Jalen Johnson, he's averaging 19 points, 10 rebounds, and 5 assists so far, and he really is a great all-around defender. So he's a guy who's arguably having a borderline all-star campaign, and his ability to play off of Trae Young, but also then have Dyson Daniels, who is kind of their secondary playmaker, is huge, because Trae Young has really taken to playing off ball this season. He's been able to take advantage of what the defenses are doing to him by playing so closely to him, even when he's not with the ball actively in his hands, which I think is like rather important. And it's opening up things for his teammates. And you can see a difference. He's putting up some solid numbers this year with 24 points, 11.5 assists per game, while showing you can still make a big impact on the playmaking, even with the ball less in his hands. That said, he's still, obviously figuring things out shooting-wise. I swear to God, Trae Young the last couple of years just comes out a little like cold shooting-wise, 39% from the field, 33 from three, but those numbers will round out. On top of that, the offense is actually looking kind of different this year. There's a lot more off-ball movement, a lot more flare screens and making cuts, which has become super active in comparison to last year and the years before under, Nate McMillan. And I've told you before, like, that it takes a year to implement the Quin Snyder offense. That's what, like, I remember Utah Jazz players saying and Mike Conley saying. But in fact, according to Synergy Sports, Atlanta is leading the NBA with an average of about 10 shots per game coming from cuts, which is a big jump from their 13th place ranking last year. And it's obviously clear that Quin Snyder wants a more balanced and motion-filled offense that swings the ball around, where guys just aren't sticking to their spots, but are moving to create those opportunities to have a higher percentage shot found. Now, right now, the Hawks sit, as we make this video, 4-7 for the record in the 2024-25 season, and that's 11th in the Eastern Conference. And yeah, they got a solid offense, averaging 116 points per game, which is 13th, which, again, top 15, but the strong on the defense, giving up 121 points, basically being outscored by 8 points. So the defense is somewhere that needs to be, addressed. They have the players, though. Jalen Johnson, Dyson Daniels, Garrison Matthews. I think when DeAndre Hunter and Bogdanovich come back, I think that'll help. Zachary's not bad. I think Clint and Onyeka Okongwu are solid. I would say Clint's kind of not having the same defensive impact as he's had once before Onyeka's surpassed him, but Capela's still dependable. 10 points, 7 rebounds in like limited minutes while shooting like 65% from the field. On offense, he's still finishing strong and super efficient. And like his defense solid. He's still getting beat, but still with the defensive rating sitting, where it is, this is a team that I think playing Onyeka Okongwu more. I wouldn't be surprised if they look to do something with Clint Capela, but they got the pieces there. They just need to get it, figured out. But now the roster under Quin Snyder is really coming together. I think a bunch of the players are really finding their groove, especially with Trae Young kind of being able to play off ball. Like I said, Dyson Daniels are averaging like 13 points, 4 rebounds, and 3 steals. It's insane. Shooting 45%. He's found his shot. So he's hustling on defense. Literally looks like an all NBA, all defense type guy. Not all NBA, but all defense type guy. And he also plays backup point for them. So he's a solid secondary playmaker for them. As we said, Jalen Johnson, he's there. And he's lighting it up. He's in the 81st percentile for forwards and usage. And with 45% shooting rate, his confidence is obvious there. And he brings a very much needed kind of versatility for this team as he complements the playmaking of Trae Young and Dyson Daniels with his own flair. Obviously, I've said it before, Garrison Matthews is a guy who's hitting his threes, is a great screener, draws charges like nobody else, gets a bunch of deflections. He's so fun. So does Dyson Daniels. So he's really opening things up for this team and making it tough for defenses to crowd Trae Young or the paint for Onyeka or Clint Capela or Jalen Johnson. So Snyder's game plan is all about, just unlocking the firepower that Atlanta has. And obviously, I think the big thing is still figuring out the defense. But take the one with Trae Young, Dyson Daniels, Garrison Matthews, Jalen Johnson, and Clint Capela as a great lineup that they've been running. And I know it's been limited minutes, so like the net rating's like off the charts. It's like plus 42 and like it's 133. But that lineup, I think, with when Dyson and Jalen Johnson are with basically that lineup, Dyson Daniels, Jalen Johnson, Garrison Matthews, 3 great defenders who can shoot the ball, Trae Young and Clint Capela. Their defense is like it's like a below 100 defensive rating. It's insane. Again, it's a very low number, but they're shooting like over 60% effective field goal percentage with that lineup. Again, it's so limited because it's like, we took the lineups with at least 15 possessions played, and that's just because the start of the season. But they have another one where it's like Trae Young, Dyson Daniels, Bogdanovich, DeAndre Hunter, and Onyeka Okongwu. And I know with DeAndre Hunter and Onyeka Okongwu, like I said earlier, they were two guys that this season, they had been basically out for most of the beginning of the year, and they just recently came back. So, or my apology, did I mess that up? They haven't played. So DeAndre Hunter has not played. Why did I say it like that? DeAndre Hunter played in the beginning of the year, and he has not come back. I said it the other way around. Either way. And Bogdan, same thing. So they had a nice lineup at the beginning of the year that they ran where it was like DeAndre Hunter, Bogdan, Onyeka Okongwu, and Daniels and Young. And that just like really, I like that one. DeAndre was the power forward, Bogdan and Daniels were the wings, and Young was the point guard, and the Onyeka was the center. We saw it in the first two games, but obviously we haven't seen it since. But I think that one just like, it complements the shooting skills of all those guys while also taking advantage of their length and versatility. So I think the outlook at this point is they're doing a good job of shaking things up and trying to like, make sure they're Trae Young's gravity, his ability to draw defenders and create chances for his teammates as a way to make this offense more potent. Because I think like being 13th is a little lackluster. Well, I think they have the guys to make their defense good. So I think they got a great group of guys. We've talked about it all video, and they're still waiting to get healthy. Now, I think at this point they have all the, the foundations to be a decent team to compete in the Eastern Conference. I just have this because I believe they don't control their first round pick this year. So I think they're just incentivized. Correct me if I'm wrong, they don't control it. I think San Antonio does. So they're incentivized just to be the best team they possibly can be. That's it. I'm done ranting. I hope you guys enjoy. Peace.